Hello, this is Lisa Rusczyk
And Donna Murphy.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic. And today we have a really cool guest, and he has a cool accent too. His name is Sam. Sam, would you like to say hello?
Hello, great to be here, guys.
Listen to that. And Sam, we have a question for you right away. I think Donna wants to ask you though.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's my turn. So we ask all our guests this at the beginning of every show. And the question that we ask everybody is, do you think we're all psychic?
Well, I think there's two levels to that question, right? So, like, are we all psychic underneath it all? Sure. Are we all operating from that ability? No, I don't think we are. So there's a like, I didn't grow up thinking of myself as has any psychic or intuitive abilities. I remember going to someone like probably 8 years ago, and she said, "You're very intuitive." And I was like completely dismissive of the idea because I was a philosopher who lived in the mind. So like it was just insane to me. So yeah, like there's so much that is percolating underneath the surface if we actually allow it to blossom. But are many people operating it that way? No.
I think it's fascinating. You said that you were a philosopher and you never considered it possible. That's just fascinating. I've loved philosophy. I studied philosophy in college.
Yeah.
And for many years, because I never graduated, I went to school for 7 years and didn't get a degree. But I studied a lot of philosophy and English and chemistry and I don't know. But anyway, philosophy was my favorite. Like it was, but I always thought but I was into like the sci-fi movies and where they'd go. And we did our sci-fi stories and like they are coming true. You know, a lot of those sci-fi stories that were popular in the 60s and movies and TV shows, a lot of that stuff's happening. It's crazy. So you were a philosopher and you didn't feel that way. What made you get there? What happened exactly 8 years ago or after that?
Well, it helped hitting rock bottom. You know, like it's nothing like hitting rock bottom to really like
Meet God.
give you a reappraisal of life. You know, like grieving for a friend who passed away for 5 years, dealing with a parent separation, mental health, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, all inside of a doctorate. Which, my whole intention was to fulfill my potential. And each day I felt like I was moving away further from that idea. Perfectionist, hard worker, all of those kinds of things. So that whole identity was tied to being an academic. And when that was kind of, it seemed like it was no longer an option initially, that's when I finally started to head towards the light, if you want to put it. I went into personal development in a much more practical way. And then from there, everything started developing.
Do you remember a moment where you were like, okay, this is possible or this is happening? Well, is there a moment for you or you just kind of grow into it?
I think there's a lot of growing into it for sure. Like in terms of what's possible, yeah, I think probably from 2018
And me
onwards,
too, growing into that.
I was pretty much like a possibilitarian. Like I wrote on a Scottish philosopher who talked about the idea of what was conceivability principles and what was possible.
I love that. Yeah.
But I didn't see him in that light until 2018 onwards, when I actually decided to rewrite a doctorate from scratch. I never actually received the doctorate, because that's another story. But I had the crazy idea that when I got to nothing as a human being, which was the philosophy of the particular program I went into, I was like, oh, I can create from nothing, so I'll just create from scratch. So that I took myself on this other wild journey to then for a long time, trying to prove to Oxford that I had something to say. Eventually, I let go of the need to prove anything, and I had the spiritual guidance of Buddha and Yogananda come into a breathwork journey and basically telling me this thing was complete after 13 years, and I just could let it go. And it was basically continuing to hold on to the idea that suffering was part of life by continuing to think that the PhD had to be completed because I said it would.
Right.
And it's really different.
My bachelor's degree, I relate to that,
Yeah. I think it's really, really difficult sometimes to let go of those things that come to define us at some point.
Oh, for sure.
They really do become a part of our identity, even though they're acquired. They don't feel acquired anymore. They really feel like some core essential part of our being. And particularly if you have kind of that overarching belief, like you mentioned, well, you had said you were going to do it, right? You made a commitment. We don't abandon our commitments. We see them through, no matter what, and we do that. That turns into such a thing that it's really hard, first of all, to kind of tease out the threads and then realize that really can be released. And it isn't
Absolutely.
a failing, or it isn't a character flaw.
It helps to
No,
find where that
for sure.
expectation comes from for me. Like for me, when I
Yeah.
was younger, I was like, well, my parents expect it, my society expects it, my classmates are all degreed, from my school, and I was like, I should be doing this. But then I realized I don't really care. I got all these jobs in writing and stuff like that without
Yeah.
the degree because I could do it. I studied it for so long and I did it, so it really helped to study it and do it. Even if you're not in school, you can do it and learn it, anyone
Oh
can.
yeah,
Anything with
100%.
social
And
stuff,
we're heading in such a different direction now in terms of like
education.
like
Yeah,
what
I've
is
been on my
education going to
AI.
be?
Like I've been on my AI, the Chat GPT with my genome from 23andMe, and I found out all kinds of cool things. I love biology and
Mm,
chemistry and
yep.
microbiology, neurobiology, and stuff like that. And so I've just been fascinated how much came back to me when we went through all that stuff from when I was younger. I still keep up with it, but not so much the hard sciences parts.
Sure.
But I understand what I'm reading. Let's put it that way. And it breaks
Yeah.
it down really simply. If I don't, I'll be like, what's this? And be like, blah, 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 simple, So it's amazing. I think medical school students should all get their genome and AI and just have fun,
Yeah. I don't think I ever anticipate, well, I definitely didn't anticipate doing anything had anything to do with science, because I think I was 16 years old when I completed my final science exam, and my study was like listening to a radio station in Australia called Triple J, and all I'd do was I would highlight the bold words in the textbook, and then I would write out the definition and try to remember them.
Would
And
you do it?
I was like, that's how much I really disliked science and the way it was taught in Australia.
I didn't like the way it was taught either here. It was
So
very
whereas
much
now it's
math.
like I hang out with neuroscientists, I learn about the fact that like what I do impacts quantum physics and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh wow, like if they were teaching you this, like it would have been an entirely different world.
Yeah, it would have been a whole different
Yes.
experience.
But see, I was kind of taught that because my family were my brother and my father were both math geniuses,
Yeah,
and they
wow.
loved physics, so they were both expansive into like looking. That my dad especially liked space, so he
Mm,
was always like black holes, and he was talking about the crazy physics behind what might happen. Like when I was like 10, so like I was growing up with that kind of thought all the time. What could happen? What might these things be? So that was offered to me pretty young, all my life. Like, what? Think about that,
yeah,
Like, yeah, I do want to. It's interesting,
yeah,
what
you're
how you can apply what you learn with your imagination into what might happen. And I was a fiction writer for a long time, so that really
mm,
helped me. And I did science fiction too. So that was like really my favorite genre. So yeah, the listeners and watchers, we're not going to talk about me and Donna anymore. We're going to talk about Sam. And Sam, like he wrote us, or his person wrote us, and he's on our show today. And I guess how would you describe yourself to the listeners and watchers now after you've been through what you've been through and what you do now? Like what label would you give yourself if you had to?
sure. So some of the words come not from me, but come from others who have kind of given these terms. Some of them come from literally like Most High. So in one situation, I was helping a leader who's an oracle with a health issue. And in between my like resonant tones, she was getting guidance around, and she's saying like, oh, you lay tones on the human soul, and you're attuning people. So like the way I think of it now is basically I'm a master of frequency attunement.
I
So I
love
can
that.
attune people into like whatever it is they want to create, as long as it's aligned with the reality they want to experience.
That is really, how do you do that exactly? Is it in your imagination or is it with energy? You're manipulating energy in your imagination, kind of, but
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing it
essentially
actually
it's with my voice.
with your
So
voice.
I tune in with the frequency of my voice, and then I channel through the frequencies which are going to match on to what I'm sensing. So
Really
my
cool.
abilities are kind of very intuitive, based on like I can sense like a shift in the energy in the room. So let's say like someone comes in with an intention, and then I'm getting them to close their eyes. I'm connecting them in with what they want to create. We're looking at what is in the way of it. They're getting to experience how it lies within the body. And then I'm just going to start to channel through these frequencies, which can be very, very wild depending on how tapped in someone is. Like sometimes they can go into spaces which like it'll sound like potentially like an indigenous tribe from anywhere from Australia to Africa to India to China to Canada to whatever, Maori. Like I've had people describe it as whale sounds, like, and then it goes into the ancestral components of what the sound can be. So then the way
You
I
make it with
see
their
it,
voice?
With my voice, yeah.
It's amazing. Do you want to give a demonstration? Because actually, this weird thing is my back's not hurting that much now. Ever since you
Yeah.
started talking and you mentioned what you do, just
Yeah.
vaguely kind of to us before the
Sure.
podcast, my back started feeling better. And
Oh,
I
that's
think maybe
beautiful.
you tuned into what you do and your voice just started doing it because it's not hurting as bad as it was. And
Well,
I
that's great.
I just don't want to sit up and test it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
absolutely. Well,
Yeah, I would.
let's just create an intention around bringing more collective ease to everyone, both Lisa and Donna, but also to the collective consciousness, given everything that's going on in the world. So all I invite you to do is just to close your eyes and just to allow yourself to connect in really with whatever is going to make a difference to you, to allow a space for more ease, more flow to come through into your life and into your body, into your cells. So I'm calling in energetic support for Lisa, for Donna, and for everyone who's listening now and into the future. Really allowing this space of ease to come into your body, into this remembrance, really allowing this flow to deepen in this moment. And I'm going to bring through a sound which is going to sound like it comes from below the crust of the earth. And then it's gradually going to go higher and higher. And we're just going to play in this space for a few minutes. So we'll see what wants to occur. Take some breaths. Really just allow yourself to be here with this frequency of what's coming through in this moment. Really allowing whatever wants to wake up in this moment to be present in right now. What I want you to do is I want you to connect in with this energy, whatever you're sensing in this moment. I want you to connect in with love for it. It could be a part of you which feels like it's from this lifetime. It could be from your ancestors. It could feel older than that. Whatever it is, I want you to sense into that. And I really want you just to have an internal conversation where you bring in all your love and compassion for them as I bring through this frequency of love, just to deepen this connection, just to create even more ease, even more space for all of this lineage. now allow yourself just to experience this ease coming into your body, experiencing the way your body moves, the way you move through the world from this space. We're going to bring through this tone just to embody this at an even deeper level. Take some breaths. And when you're ready, just allow yourself to come back into the room, open your eyes, and just notice whatever is here right now. And know you can always listen to this again at another time.
That was freaking incredible, man. Oh my gosh. Did you hear my cat? Einstein, the IT guy, he's been like meowing the whole time you were like about halfway through. He started meow. He's right here. He never comes for the podcast, and he liked that. I like that. Beautiful. Donna, did you have experience? I'll talk about mine unless you want to talk about yours first.
Yeah, no, I just I really felt a really deep sense of peace, relaxation, a lot of warmth, especially heart chakra and solar plexus. Really pleasant. I mean, not heat, but warmth.
Yeah.
And just a very loving, comfortable space. And then, of course, both of my cats were, I could tell they were listening. They weren't meowing or anything. And I got my eyes closed, but I can kind of sense when they're around.
For sure.
And of course, the manager, we call her the manager. One of my cats comes for every podcast, and there's Tail right now. The rest of her is here also.
That's butt approval. If she shows the butt, that's butt approval.
Yes, we're all getting the butt of approval
out,
today.
I think.
But she's but she immediately, as soon as everything, then when you said like to come back and come back into the room, she boom right onto the table right here.
Listeners, so if you're not watching, the manager just stuck her face right up there with her beautiful
right up into the camera.
Right this is hey Sam, hey Sam, hey.
Yeah, she's saying hi Sam. Sam, I really liked that.
Yeah, she did.
Her name is actually her name is Tomiko, but here on the podcast she's the manager.
I love it.
And he's very happy. Is the IT guy because he's always in the background doing stuff. He's the IT.
He's very happy.
I had really intense experience. Like at first, I'm a musician and I love music and pitch, and I work with sound bowls with the 432 hertz and solfeggio frequency tuning fork. So I'm into this stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt like at first I felt like this burst of humor, I guess is what it feels like a sense of humor comes back. If that makes any sense. Music usually does bring that back first for me, kind of a sense of joy and humor. And that kind of came back into my energy because I didn't have it. I didn't have it. And I felt like when you were doing the lower tones, especially through, like I opened my heart chakra, one of our guests taught me how to do that. So I did that for it. And I felt a lot of movement coming out of my heart chakra and out of my everything. There's just all this energy just kind of shaken out is what it felt like.
Yeah.
And then when you said, okay, now we're gonna blah blah. He said something else and we did more. But before then, I started to feel it coming, really breaking up something in my throat chakra, especially. Like it felt like breaking it up is how I would put it.
Absolutely.
And it was like, but it came out the top is what it felt like. And then it came up through here when you went into that second part. And all through here, it was coming out of like the chakras, out of my crown chakra is what it felt like. And then it said something and you did or said something, and I thought of my friend. You said go back to what you want to heal. There's some back in your past somewhere, and I thought I don't know why, but I thought of my friend Wendy dying. Manager, she's listening, and I thought of my friend Wendy dying, and it just like choked me up, and I didn't really deal with it when it happened too well. I was just angry at her for doing it, you know. So I dealt with it, but I just felt really sad. Like all this grief came up, and then it was like after the third part, it just kind of like went away. It just like, and then she was with me. It felt like, and more so than she was in life. That was like the message that came through. So it was really intense for me, and my back is not hurting really at all. Honestly,
that's awesome.
That's wonderful.
It was feeling better anyway, but it's like not hurting at all. So that's freaking rad, man.
One other thing,
right now, I'll just throw this out here right now. Where can my listeners and watchers find you? Because this is when they want to find out.
Yeah,
we can keep talking, but I would like you to let them know where you are.
Sure, like they can find me at soulpurposeleaders.com. So like SOUL, not the sole of your foot. And then I've also developed a platform where they can attune into their own guidance 8 minutes a day, which is called resonanceos.io.
That is just amazing. I love it. That's naturally that you learned on your own that was kind of taught to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just came through a series of spiritual awakenings from 2022 onwards.
Wow.
So I started off working with the energy of my hands. Then I had this experience where suddenly I could use breaths, which kind of looked like I was breathing like Voldemort, and I'd breathe through my mouth, and it would be super weird looking, but it would shift.
I know what you're talking about. I do that now. I start like you clear out everything like out of your lungs, and it feels like shit is coming out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yeah, I can't say it any other way. Shit is coming out of the bottom of my soul.
Like someone described me as a spiritual. Someone described me as a spiritual plumber, like clearing out all the gunk.
That's a great way to put it. Better way than I said it. Spiritual plumber. That's great. Yeah.
The other thing is too, and just as a reminder too, we will make sure that all of your contact information everywhere that you want people to be able to find you, contact you, will also be in the show notes. So that'll be there for everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, we always hope that they'll listen to the podcast more than once. And we like that. But in case somebody doesn't want to have to go through the whole podcast to find that one section where you talked about it, we'll make sure it's there. Also, too, for me, being clairaudient, one other experience for me was I was actually starting to feel I'm going to say true resonance, almost like a tuning fork.
Yeah.
In my I'll say like in my ears, like in my eardrums. But also I'll say kind of energetically as well as physically. Yep. But because I'm a clairaudient, I'm pretty sensitized that way.
Yeah.
And literally it was like a tuning fork because you would hit a certain pitch and then I could feel the corresponding vibration and be on that same pitch. So that was another, I mean, I'll say kind of both physical and energetic spiritual feeling or experience that was really, really, really pleasurable, really relaxing.
Yeah. I don't want to forget this thought. Thought. Did you hear the ambulance? Did you hear the ambulance? None of you
didn't hear an ambulance.
You hit the pitch of the ambulance. You were hitting the pitch above it. And then when the ambulance came down the street, you hit the pitch of the ambulance exactly just when the ambulance was here.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think you heard it, but you naturally just hit the pitch. Yeah. It was just a little lower than where you were. Do you remember going down a little bit and thinking like, what happened? That might have been why, because it was matching the ambulance here.
Yeah.
And you're probably healing them.
Let's hope.
Fingers crossed.
That's really cool, man. That is really amazing. I love it. I'm blown away. So like, I would love to know, what are most people's experiences with this when they come see you? Are they pretty blown away too, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that kind of state of just like, who the fuck are you? Like, what just happened?
I'm just like, thank you. Thank you. I know who you are, though.
Yeah, it's like, I look just like another guy, and then suddenly I'm doing something. I grew up with Monty Python, and so I often say, like, nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition is kind of a good way of describing me. The first weapon is surprise. So it's like suddenly like this voice comes out, which is quite different to my speaking voice. And yeah. Like I've had people say,
Also,
like, "Oh, I could hear this like hundreds of meters away." You know, like if I could be on a ship
my
before.
cats loved it.
Yeah,
Einstein especially.
and
Einstein needs a lot of healing. He needs a lot of emotional healing, physical healing. So he was really into it. My cat.
Yeah, a lot of animals have like, I've seen like giant dogs just like sit in a room while I'm doing this for an hour and a half completely still. I've seen dogs who have not, are just like, they're the ones who are outside, are like going crazy because they're not in the residence, but the ones who love it, like they really freaking love it.
Well, the thing that's interesting is Einstein, he was meowing the sweet meow, not the what's going on meow, but the real sweet meow, and he wanted to get up on me, and he kept putting his paws up here, so he might have seen the healing or sensed the healing, because he loves to be with me when I'm doing Reiki, or around me when I'm doing Reiki or something. And both one of the cats was really hesitant about Reiki, but he'll come ask for it now. That one, he just loved it. I'm gonna play it when I remix it. He's probably gonna do the same thing. I hope I caught a meow. I really hope I did. But this isolation audio thing usually cuts everything out. So
it tends to cut background noise, which is a good thing most of the time. But
it's
every
cool
once in a while,
you did not hear that ambulance. That is so
nope, good. I did, and I didn't either. I couldn't hear anything.
Zoom
other
is a challenge when it comes to audio for this kind of work, because it's not designed. Like sometimes what happens is the voice of the person I'm working with will get cut off. Like they're not on mute, but they cannot speak.
I know why. I know why. That is why I set the audio up this way. I send the link before the podcast, because if you set a meeting link up, then usually it'll cut out everybody when the host is speaking. So that's why I do it this way instead of send a meeting link like months in advance. And another thing is if everybody has a microphone or everybody does not have a microphone, that will cut out as well. So if I did not have a microphone and Donna and you did, every time I talked, y'all would cut out. So it's like, it's just weird, it just does weird things like that. Or when, it's just very strange. I've learned all the little tricks. So I always like people to have a microphone, everybody to have a microphone. Well, it's easier to mix that way and they sound better.
Yeah.
Sound is important, Absolutely. But you sounded great, man. And I'm going to have fun mixing that.
We had really good. Yeah.
I might actually put it in my, I'm putting it in my video program. I might make it like 360 and kind of mix it that way. And for
I'd love to hear
listeners, because it doesn't do that on Spotify, but YouTube will play a 3D surround sound thing. So I might do that with this thing. I mean, you have to play it and see what happens.
Yeah, you have to.
Listeners, if I'll let you know, I'll let you know in writing or something somewhere.
Yeah,
if I end up doing that, so you can hear it with your headphones on or whatever you want. That's just amazing. And this time I'd like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths, so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And I'm an advisor on Everclear under the name Lisa Rusczyk when I'm healthy. And I'm healthy, so I'm going to log in today.
And I am on Everclear under the name Dona Murphy. So you can find either of us there. Most of the time, you can always message. Even if you don't see that we're available, you can send a message.
They can't message us unless they've called us before. I found that out. So,
they can't start a message without...
I don't think so, not until they've contacted us. Yeah.
Okay.
I found that out. Maybe they changed it, but that's when I was using the app. I found that out. So, but it used to be that way. I used to be able to write people, and then I wasn't able to. So they're changing things. You just never know with Everclear. Sometimes they even change their name. You should always Everclear, but it might be advice app. It might be psychic reading app. You never know. It's very exciting to work for them. And Sam, we have to ask for advice. We have to. We just have to. Sure. We love to. I would love to ask for advice based on like your experience with like you always were into sound anyway, right?
No,
really.
I liked singing as a kid, but I was told not to sing. I was like remember being in school assembly in high school and believing still that point I was tone deaf until I was, whatever the teacher was singing next to me, I was like, oh, that's tone deaf. Like, I just don't sing well. So like, that was the story.
Oh, that's remarkable because you have a beautiful
perfect
sound
pitch and a
quality
beautiful
and a
voice.
big range. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
that's
wild.
remarkable.
Like, what's emerged. Like, when it first started in 2023, I remember it was a bit like a boy going through puberty, because one, it was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is just happening like during a session. Like, I've gone from breath to suddenly this voice is coming through me, and I didn't try to do that. So that was weird in itself. And, discombobulating. And then the sound was a bit like grainy and tinny, I remember. So I worked with someone and that really expanded the capacity. And I remember talking to her, like, originally when I was originally going to hire her, and I said, like, look, I want to be able to expand, transform group consciousness. Can you help me? And she's like, oh yeah, we just need to expand your vessel, essentially. So it's expanding the physical body with the etheric body. At the moment, it's sort of constrained in that realm. So once we did that, that's really allowed the voice to just travel like 100 times beyond whatever it was before. And then I really started to I went through like a past life regression, and it connected me in with this voice from ancient China. It was like 14,000 years ago. And the message I got was, I was a woman with a healing voice, and they didn't like it, so they killed me. But the etheric body lived on, is what I said out loud. And as soon as I said those words, it programmed some remembrance. And I started to create this tone with a kind of softer, more oriental shape to it. And then the recording didn't have original sound for musicians. So it was horrible. Like, you could literally, I was just trying to listen to it over and over again to see if I could get the data. Like, oh no, I can't remember what this thing is. And then after a few weeks, something clicked, and I started to sense in at a deeper level. And I could see this is the shape of this sound also matches onto certain emotions. So like, those softer tones will match onto sadness and grief, but they'll also match onto safety, and they'll also match onto a lot of the inner child work. So often you'll start with that if you wanted to create safety, a space to receive, if you want to work with like any kind of vulnerability, if you want to work with grief, right? And then you can expand the receivership once there is a foundation of safety. So that was the kind of the first component. And then at some point I sensed like, I think I can work at an ancestral level now. So I remember just creating like a raw recording, sharing it with someone, and they responded. That, it was like 6 minutes. It was horrible quality, but they were like, that separated me from the energy of war in Israel. And they were Israeli. And I was just like, whoa, okay, that's crazy. And then I sent another one to someone else, and they were at the time they were leaving the Mormon church, and they, and they'd been born into it, but they hadn't chosen it really. And they experienced like basically all of these women in their line who had been in polygamous marriages, but they hadn't chosen to be in them. And so they were in that situation. So it was decoupling the energy of that. And so once I heard back from him about that, I was like, okay, shit, like this is nuts. And so then I just kept getting more and more trust, and I kept sensing it. And so like, when I first started to create these group activations, just without anyone present, it would just be like, all right, I'm going to impact collective consciousness, and then let it be so. It was in this office, and that became like one of the recordings, which is a transmission on the app. So just people's reactions just eventually convinced me like something needs to be created.
You have an app?
It's a web app, so it's a platform. Like you could listen to it from your desktop, or you could listen.
There's
to
an app. What's it called? What's the app called?
That's Resonance OS.
Resonance OS, guys. Is it just on iPhone? Or is it
no, it's Android? Like it's a web app. So like you just literally go to resonanceos.io, and then they can try it for 14 days. And then often within like 8 minutes, people will feel the impact of it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Do it. I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So, okay, for the advice, how about somebody who maybe not necessarily, they don't know what their thing is yet, like you did.
Sure.
You just started opening up, and this is what happened. Yep. And I'm looking at doing a past life regression with someone here in Nashville. I don't have the money for it yet, so I'm going to do it. Maybe that's the direction they decide to take. How would you recommend that they get to a place where they can really open up about listening to what happens during the past life reading, and really embrace what gifts they may be revealed during that?
Yeah. Like, I think I'm going to come from the space of where I was when I first did a psilocybin journey, because I was really nervous, and it happened very fast that this kind of was going to transpire. Like literally, like one day I'm on a balcony in West Vancouver talking with my mom and this person who I trusted, and who happened to be like, I think on the board of the Psychedelics Association of Canada, and saying like, oh, 99 people came out of a study of 100, or maybe it was undiagnosed of depression. They came in with depression. They came out, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I was kind of skeptical of psychedelics at that stage. But I remember like the next day I was super nervous when I was going in. I felt like this churning in my stomach as they were driving to the place. And then they asked me to write down my intentions. And so I just wrote down anything that I wanted to let go of and anything I wanted to create. So I would just tune into an intention, like what's important to you? Like, why are you if you're going to go into a past life regression, like what's important? Why it's like, and sometimes the more simple the intention, the better. But for me, at least, I had so much, I guess I wanted to get off my chest. And so like, I literally
purged. You purged everything.
Yeah. Like it was very beautiful. Like it was very blissful as an experience. And then like the past life regression that I did, I think that was like, they just took me through 3 different, I think, spaces, some from my own life and then eventually into past life and then into like the ether and beyond and places that I could only sense into, but without really knowing what's going on and just have to be in a space of trust. But I would just follow your curiosity, like for me, everything's guided by curiosity.
Me too.
And it's just like, okay, like
I agree
completely. Like why would it, what might be of value to me in discovering this? Like, why would I care to even know? Right? And what difference could it make if something got revealed, right? Like what might it harmonize within my life if I could see, oh, this is why this is like that. This is why I've gone down this particular path, or this is what I needed to learn in this particular life as a consequence of who I was being in this other one, right? Like sometimes, we come into this as a karmic path and there are lessons that we're here to learn as a consequence of what we've just, done or not done in other times, right? Like
I believe that
journeys. Like there's such great books. Like the things that there's some books to read, right? I think it's Michael Newton, Journey of Souls.
Yeah, we talked about that all. We had the first.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. It's a wonderful book.
I love that. That's my favorite of all those.
I think that would be something I would invite someone who's thinking of doing a past life regression journey to read beforehand, because it'll help create a foundation of, okay, I can
advice
see what
right
this
there.
Looks like.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's a wonderful
I'm
suggestion.
ready to receive it myself.
That's a great suggestion.
That's a really good book, man. That's one that one changed my whole, because I had spirits telling me basically that. And then when I read that book, I was like, what the hell? My God, it's real. They said it's real. From where all these people, like all of these people line up and say the same thing. And, it's just amazing. It's a great book, guys. Journey of Souls, Michael P. Newton, I think. And then he's a PhD. I think it says PhD on the book. I remember all this.
I think it does.
I read something, I usually remember it. So sometimes. So I guess we do have one last question. Donna, would you like to ask him the last question since you asked him the first question?
Sure. The question that we usually ask that we always ask our guests as we're wrapping up for the episode is, do you love our listeners and watchers?
Sorry, I missed that question.
Do you love our listeners and watchers?
Do you love them? Love the listeners and watchers. And the watchers.
I'm not somehow getting the question. So
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll try again. Do you love our listeners and watchers, our audience?
Well, this is the first time I've been here, so I'm absolutely excited to hear back from your listeners and watchers. I think you've done this for like 8 seasons at least, something I looked up. I'm not sure if that's right.
This is the 10th season. Yeah,
10th season. Like,
7 years,
that's
10
incredible.
seasons.
So, the fact that you've grown an audience who wants to listen for 10 seasons, which is, you guys are super fun to be with, so it's not hard to see why. But yeah, like I love anyone who's got that level of dedication that they'd actually want to, and that would allow this to be created. So absolutely.
He loves you, listeners. That's what he's saying. He loves you.
Yep.
And we love you too, listeners and watchers. Have a great time wherever you may be. Peace out.
Thank you.
Go check
Sam,
him
thank
out.
you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I hope you'll come back and see us again sometime soon.
Sounds great.
It's been a really, really wonderful experience. It's been a really profound experience, which I think at some point I'm still processing.
Me too.
Which is probably why I'm not as verbal.
Ooh.
And I'm actually less verbal about it. I think Lisa's more and I'm less. But it's just been a lovely experience, and I'm so glad that you joined us. And I know that people are really, really going to enjoy this episode a lot and get a lot from it. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yes, and listeners.
My pleasure and joy.
And listeners, I don't have to go to the chiropractor now. I was going to go to a chiropractor, but now I don't have to because I can move.
It feels good
and not hurt. It's freaking gone. I mean, I can sit up. Nothing's happening, man. There's no pain. There's no stiffness anywhere in my body, man. That's just, I'm going to call you tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you. We love
That's
you.
amazing.
All right,
I
bye
love
for
it.
now,
We love
everybody.
you.
See you soon.
Andrew loves you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good morning, listeners and watchers. I am waking up. I just took a towel off my head because my brain was inflamed. It works. Wet towel, cold wet towel. I did want to tell you my experiences after this podcast because this was a really cool one. After the podcast, I was in some pain and then it went away again. And last night I felt pretty good, especially when I mixed the podcast again, or mixed it and heard it again. And it's just like a really magical experience. I hope you guys can be affected like we were during this podcast because it's freaking amazing that he can do this to me anyway, especially that ambulance thing. That was freaking incredible to me. Of course it is. It's magic. Listeners, I love you. Donna loves you. Sam K loves you. And everybody have a great time wherever you may be. Good morning, listeners and watchers. I am waking up. I just took a towel off my head because my brain was inflamed. It works. Wet towel, cold wet towel. I did want to tell you my experiences after this podcast because this was a really cool one. After the podcast, I was in some pain and then it went away again. And last night I felt pretty good, especially when I mixed the podcast again, or mixed it and heard it again. And it's just like a really magical experience. I hope you guys can be affected like we were during this podcast because it's freaking amazing that he can do this to me anyway, especially that ambulance thing. That was freaking incredible to me. Of course it is. It's magic. Listeners, I love you. Donna loves you. Sam K loves you. And everybody have a great time wherever you may be.